and casualties. At the height of the war, ECOMOG peace mission to end the carnage was set up. The force arrived Monrovia August 1990 and carried out its peacekeeping mission successfully. This is what the 314-page and 26-chapter book titled The ECOMOG Story, Dynamics of African Politics and International Conspiracy in African Wars attempts to document for posterity.
The soldiers, the only way we can encourage them, they sacrifice their life, and sometimes they go and then ensure that there is peace and then protect lives and property. The only way we can encourage them is to say thank you by giving them this award.
Nigeria contributed immensely in terms of resources it poured into the venture, and more importantly, it was the first time in history that any group in any part of the world organized a group to enforce peace without referring to the United Nations Charter.
Frank Akinola, a widely traveled journalist who was the press secretary to the ECOMOG field commander, authors the book.
Commanders who did so well there and brought back peace to Liberia, I felt they deserve to be honored. And our gallant officers and men who lost their lives, we need to document them. And that is the reason for this book.
In Abuja, Joseph Orok, NTA News.
And talking health now, reversing the trend of antibiotics resistance, menace of fake drugs and non-compliance of dosage, as well as self-medication, formed the focus of discussions at a one-day stakeholders workshop to commemorate the 2016 World Consumer Rights Day. Olajide Bello reports that the theme for the 2016 celebration is Consumer Beware, Antibiotic Resistance Can Kill.
As part of measures to awaken Nigerian consumers to the reality of antibiotics resistance, the Consumer Protection Council says, as provided for by Section 2 of its enabling law, it will use the next 12 months for aggressive advocacy on proper use of antibiotics in the country.
So what we are advocating here is that we should stop this practice. It impedes on our health, and one way or the other, it will be diminishing the economic value of all of us here.
But emergence of antibiotic-resistant bacteria is now jeopardizing health and causing treatment failures.
UNIDO NQI project, this is the National Quality Infrastructure Project, supports CPC to engage the consumers on many fronts.
A communique at the end of the meeting is to serve as blueprint for future reference and adoption by the federal government. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Still talking health, environmental health officers have again advocated a return to the old practice of house-to-house inspection to check outbreaks of diseases that are preventable through sound environmental sanitation practices. These are the views at the 2016 retreat for the Directorate Cadre of Environmental Health Officers, drawn from the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory. Edino Justice has details.
Some of the concerns at the 3-day retreat holding at Goshen City along Kefi-Abuja Road are the emergence of preventable diseases like cholera, malaria and other diseases that are vector-borne, which can be prevented by simple sanitation practices. These, the Registrar Environmental Health Officers Registration Council of Nigeria, Dominic Aboyin, says is cheaper to prevent than cure.
There are seasonal trends in disease outbreaks, and these seasonal trends are assisted by our life pattern. We cannot say we decree everybody have borehole because it's tied to money. But the little we have, we can manage it hygienically so that we can break the barrier between disease and our humble Nigerians.
In what we are doing, we are taking health for granted, and we must go back to those structured ways of doing things.
Representative of the Minister of Environment, Kehinde Okuno, while reiterating the ministry's commitment to safe environmental practices, urged the participants to live by examples.
Make it your duty to pass these things to your states, which is your government. And then not only that, to your community as well, because charity begins at home.
High point was the public presentation of some environmental health guidelines developed by the Council, which focus on waste management, pest control, support sanitation, sanitary inspection of premises, among others. Aiding of Justice, NTA News.
And away from health, the Code of Conduct Tribunal has reserved Thursday, 24th of March for ruling on a motion by Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki seeking to quash the charges before the tribunal. This follows the exchange of arguments on the motion. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewo reports.
The content of the motion came as a shock to the prosecution, who thought that all such preliminary matters had already been settled by the Supreme Court. Rotimi Jacobs contended that this was another abuse of court process and that even if the defense are allowed to raise objections on jurisdiction and other matters, the ruling should come along with the judgment as stipulated by the Administration of Criminal Justice Act.
The Supreme Court will resolve something, then you come and change it. You said that the Attorney General was the only person who could, when there was no Attorney General in office, who could initiate criminal proceedings before the tribunal. Then you turn around after the Supreme Court make decision and say, no, it's no longer the Attorney General who has the power. It has become a child play.
But the defense held that the issues raised in the motion are live issues that could determine the legitimacy of the charges. For instance, Mr. Kanu Agabi stated that only the Code of Conduct Bureau can refer matters to the tribunal, something they did not do for 13 years, and that even then Dr. Bukola Saraki was supposed to have been invited to acknowledge or deny any discrepancies in his asset declaration.
If you bring a man under suspicion, you should tell him the basis of the suspicion. Our constitution says so. Why not? If the suspicion is justifiable, you must tell him the basis for your suspicion.
The allowance for any uncertainty regarding this trial is now been further narrowed down now that the motion for the jurisdiction has been raised and date for ruling reserved. After that ruling, then, depending on where the pendulum swings, the fate of this trial will then be known. From the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
Thank you, Femi. Meanwhile, an FCT High Court has adjourned a suit challenging the elongation of the tenure of leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, at the national level. The plaintiffs, who are members of the party, are praying the court to order the PDP to obey its constitution by termination of their tenure at the end of 4 years. Dele Atumbi reports.
The case, which is between Iwosu Emmanuel and Eze Silas as plaintiffs, and the People's Democratic Party, its chairman, Senator Alimodu Sheriff, and the National Working Committee as defendant, came up for mention before Justice Ebong. The reliefs being sought by the plaintiffs are an order of the court compelling the party to computerize its membership list before its convention, the vacation of office of the present leadership of the party at the expiration of its tenure by the end of March, in line with the party's constitution. The plaintiffs also prayed the court to declare as illegal any elongation of tenure of the leadership by the party caucus. However, the inability to serve the chairman of the party stalled the commencement of the suit.
Very clearly, he has not been served. The court has no jurisdiction over him. We are here. Our appearance is actually a conditional appearance.
But the PDP itself and the National Working Committee on record have been served.
In his ruling, Justice Ebong adjourned hearing on the matter till April 5th, believing the party's chairman will have been served. Outside the court premises, some members of the party converged with placards asking for the supremacy of the party's constitution. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
We go over now to our Lagos Network Center for news making the rounds in that zone with Ademola as our guide. Hello, Ademola. It's over to you now.
Thank you, Isaac. Good afternoon and welcome to Lagos. Following the collapse of a 5-story building under construction by a real estate firm, Lekki Gardens, the Lagos State government has ordered occupants of all buildings owned by the company to vacate their homes. This is to allow the state authorities carry out quality control tests of the buildings. Annie Daniels, who visited one of the estates to ascertain the level of compliance with this directive, reports.
On arrival, we met all gates to premises of Lekki Gardens estate under lock and key. A private security man who declined speaking on camera disclosed to the NTA News that the gates were locked by the Lagos State government, following the directive that occupants vacate the buildings. Taking advantage of the little space available, NTA News managed to gain entrance into the premises after obtaining permission from men of the Nigerian police force who were on ground to forestall a breakdown of law and order. On close observation, the buildings are yet to be vacated. A sanitary staff confirms this fact.
Those cars that are parking here is people that have two cars. So they park one outside. If they want to go out, they go and enter outside the gate there and go. If they want to come back, they park it outside there.
Observers and a resident who declined speaking on camera advised the government to consider the plight of the occupants.
I can understand a government saying, leave for now. Yes, but you can't tell me to leave. I don't have any other home. And you're not telling me when possibly I'll be coming back. If I'm going to go and rent another place or even pay for a hotel, I should know how long that's going to be so that I know if it's sustainable.
The building that maybe half fought or whatever, the one that is strong, they can be able to leave it. But the one that is not strong, they can be able to demolish it.
People that buy the house, they pay for it. What do you want them to do? How do you want them to see their money collect?
NTA News ran into officials of the Lagos State Building Control Agency and Lagos State Materials.
Speakers noted that genuine conversion and values are what Nigerians require.
Conversion is an ongoing thing, but once it takes place, talking from the Christian point of view, and Christ takes the center stage in the life of a person, we describe that there is no way to be comfortable in that kind of dog lifestyle.
Founder of the Center for Values in Leadership, Professor Patu Tomi, said faith lessons are enough to change the attitude of Nigerians. He therefore called on Christian leaders not to relent in their commitment to building an egalitarian society.
Worthy of honor, and so on the one hand we honor them for the work that they have done, for the example that they have shown. On the other hand, we use their lives to educate, to teach the young.
The man of the movement, John Cardinal Onaiko, said for a greater and united Nigeria, the people must live in the service of God and humanity.
Bring Nigerians together, avoid anything that will polarize us.
Climax of the colloquium was the cutting of the Archbishop's birthday cake. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Well, that does it from Lagos. It's back to you, Isaac, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Ademola. The remains of late Minister of State for Labour and Employment, James Ocholi, SAN, have been laid to rest in his country home, Abuja, in Dekina Council area of Kogi State. Kenneth Nane
died on the 6th of March alongside his wife and son in an auto crash along Kaduna-Abuja Road. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
The wife of the president has called on the Nigerian youths to remain vanguards of positive change for a more united and prosperous nation. Mrs. Buhari stated this in a message at the official unveiling of Nigerian Rebirth Project. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
The idea of the Nigerian Rebirth Project, organizers say, is to promote peaceful coexistence, discipline and tolerance amongst Nigerian youth, as well as to project the good image of the country to the rest of the world. The wife of the president, who was represented at the occasion by the wife of the vice president, had prior to this unveiling in a video clip blessed the program and urged the organizers to sustain the tempo in teaching moral values to the children for positive change. Unveiling the Rebirth Art Piece, which is the collaborative work of the 36 artists from across the Federation, including FCT, the wife of the Vice President emphasized the need for Nigerian youth to project the ideology of indivisibility.
This new Nigeria that is being delivered just like a baby is designed by God Almighty to become another super nation that will bring hope and prosperity to the whole of humanity with our collective efforts. But first, let us be ready to imbibe the ideology of this united Nigeria. Indeed, we will not rest until every Nigerian, regardless of religion, ethnicity, social status, and even political inclination, can enjoy equal opportunities to dream, to pursue and achieve greatness.
The coordinator of the Nigerian Rebirth Project and other participants who described the project as biggest in Africa reiterated their determination to remain focused for a prosperous nation.
The art symbolizes our renewed commitment
to nation building, emphasize the strengths of our nation, and release the potentials of our people so that Nigeria can fly once again.
We have roles as parents to continue to show our children what is good and what is bad.
About 400 children are selected to serve as an ambassadors of the Nigerian Rebirth Project. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Education alongside empowerment for rural women has been described as powerful tools that will make them self-reliant and fast-track the development of the nation. Chairperson, Better Life Program for African Rural Women, Aisha Babangida, re-emphasized this at the organization's 2016 Basic Literary Graduation Ceremony, where 62 women benefited from the Adult Literacy Program in Tunga Asheri community of Abuja Municipal Area Council. Hakimata Leo has details.
Despite the rural women's major role in agriculture and other activities, education has often been a barrier. These, among other issues, is what the Better Life Program for African Rural Women seeks to address. Its adult literacy education program.
We've been working with them for the past 1.5 to 2 years, and none of them could even speak a word of English. And for me to see them there all making a speech and writing their goodwill messages, I'm honored. It was a time for them to actually learn entrepreneurial skills, so that way they can, they're farmers, and then they produce cassava as well. So open up a market for them and teach them how to add value to their cakes like you see, and then their gari and their flour. So that way they can send it out to the market and make a sense of living as well from it.
Tunga Asheri, the benefiting community, is a Bagi and Fulani settlement whose inhabitants are predominantly farmers. Celebrating the 62 graduates who have successfully completed the 12-month basic literacy program, it is hoped that the achievements will help improve their earning opportunities.
I learn how to say, I learn how to buy, I learn how to move with people.
Some dignitaries at the event, amongst whom is Senator Philip Aduda, described the project as a laudable one, worthy of emulation, as it will help promote rural productivity and enhance food security.
Advise that everybody should look at it and see how we can all help rural women and their various ways to ensure that we empower them.
There is nothing you can do in your life without education.
Better Life Program for African Rural Women is a non-governmental organization founded in 1986 by late Dr. Mariam Babangida to address the issues confronting women worldwide, a legacy which her daughter Aisha Babangida hopes to continuously keep alive. In Abuja, Hakima Aliu, NTA News.
Kaduna State Government to upgrade Doka Hospital along Kaduna-Abuja Highway. There is more from our Kaduna Network Center as Amin guides us through. Hello, Amin. You're on.
Thank you, Isaac, and good afternoon. The Kaduna State Government is to upgrade Doka Hospital along Kaduna-Abuja Highway to an emergency trauma center. This is coming on the heels of rampant cases of accidents that occur on the highway. Mohammed Lawal Baba reports.
Following accidents that occur frequently along Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, where lives are often lost, Kaduna State Government has concluded plans to address the issue by converting the hospital to a full-fledged trauma center. The Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Professor Andrew Jonathan Nock, said the hospital infrastructure will be upgraded and qualified personnel will be posted to man it. He, however, said staff of Doka Hospital will, in the interim, be redeployed to hospitals across the state, while renovation and upgrade continues. The Commissioner reiterated that government's intervention in that direction is to address accidents that occur on the expressway and their attendant consequences.
It is our projections that after this, the hospital is going to make serious input with regards to treating of victims who, for one reason or the other, are traveling along.
Presentation, Zonal Commissioner ICPC Kaduna Office Olusegun Bamidele said corruption is an abuse of office which comes in different forms. He identified lack of foreign direct investment, insecurity, dilapidated infrastructure, among others, as some of the negative consequences of corruption.
The problem we have
is a situation where money meant for projects, money meant for programs are being diverted. So by the time civil servants are able to adhere strictly to the rules, financial regulation, public service rule, Nigeria will be better for it.
Kaduna State Head of the Civil Service, Ali Sabat Dado Anavi, said civil servants being the engine room of implementing government policies and programs, there is need to educate them on the danger of corruption.
They know the rules about the anti-corruption stance of this administration. They will be able to now imbibe those rules and make sure that we play the game by the due process.
Some of the participants are optimistic about the workshop.
We can take it out to our different parastatals and then give them this type of workshop. It will improve our attitude towards work.
In Kaduna, Ahmed Umar Kudang, NTA News.
The need for mutual interaction between government and the governed through a platform that will evaluate the performance of elected officials took center stage at Sensitization Forum in Kaduna. Mary Epeong reports that the program, Student Conversation with Elected Public Officials, was organized by the National Orientation Agency in collaboration with Conrad Adino.
The forum is a deliberate effort by the two organizations to create an enabling environment for the government and Kaduna residents interact on how well it's delivering dividends of democracy to the citizens. The Acting Director General, National Orientation Agency, Mrs. Ngozi Ekoba, said the forum is designed to bridge the gap between the elected and the public, as governance is adjudged good when the government is transparent and accountable.
This platform actually is for the citizens to be carried along in decision making. Let the lawmakers feel the impulse of those people that elected them.
The country representative of Conrad Adeno Stepton, Mrs. Hilda Kigozi, speaks on the partnership.
To interact also with the people, at the same time with government officials and bringing you together. And also informing people, let's say, on their civic rights and duties.
The Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Kaduna State University, who was the keynote speaker, observed that Kaduna State has various political and ethnic groups. As such, having a platform of this nature is dynamic and essential, hence the need to take it to the grassroots. Earlier, the Director National Orientation Agency, Kaduna State, Galadima Zubayu Soba, noted that the Sensitization Forum aims at bringing about change in citizens in line with the change of the present administration. In Kaduna, Mary Epeong, NTA News.
Back to Isaac for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Amin. The Director General of the National Institute for Legislative Studies, Dr. Ladi Hamalai, says the power of the social media in national development, if well utilized, cannot be underestimated. She said this during a media parley with some social media activists on the benefits of emerging media. Dennis Adegunloye tells us more.
Slogans: Nigerians, good people, great nation. Or a famous one from Lagos, Eko ni Bajeo, or one from Kano, Kaskia Tafikwabo. These are just a few slogans among many that Nigerians love to use. But the question is, what impact do they have on the developments of the nation?
With slogans common in the social media, there is no escaping them, and participants at the interaction give their views on the merits and demerits of slogans.
We need to move away from sloganeering. It is not working for us. It is more of a cosmetic, noise-making venture.
We don't do what is necessary to move it from words to action. And even when we do, there's no consistency.
The tendency has been for us to make slogans a substitute for action instead of its foundation.
It's like advertisement. You can wink at a lady in the dark, she's not going to see it. You have to actually give something she can't see and communicate in a way that she will understand.
I've seen good leaders coming into office with the most noble objectives. But they get frustrated. The system is so chopped up that they cannot penetrate.
Other issues discussed include leadership, followership, relations, and how Nigerians should continue to play their role in supporting the Buhari administration in realizing the change agenda. From the NILS headquarters, Abuja, Dennis Adigunle, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. More reports when we return. Don't go away.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Our founding fathers worked to establish certain standards of governance. Some of their successors behaved like spoiled children, breaking everything and bringing disorder to the house.
The leaders at that time, as well as those of us that followed them, were patriotic. They went into politics to serve, but not to be served.
It is people doing things wrong and not being sanctioned that led to this escalation.
What is going on now? We are beginning to lift up the quality of leadership.
We must not succumb to hopelessness and defeatism. We can fix our problems.
Fashanu trying a shot, and it's gone in. John Fashanu's 5th goal of the season, and what a spectacular...
Great Nigerian people, great Nigerian products, all made in Nigeria.
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 Nice, made in Nigeria. Quality is guaranteed.
Nice, made in Nigerian good.
Made in Nigeria is where we are going now.
We're going to come to Made in Nigeria TV Expo and Exhibition in April 2016, where we shell for the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. Features include grand opening ceremony, live concert, and showcasing of many Ogbonge quality products from our expert manufacturers and states. 5 days of TV Expo and Exhibition for Made in Nigeria products and services. For further inquiries, we're going to contact our contact platforms or visit any NTA station near you. Think international, because our products are going international.
We have always lived together as brothers and sisters. Though the outreach, March 30th, seminar and book launch, National Universities Commission, Abuja, 1st April 2016, grand finale, parades, displays, awards, exhibition and police talent show, Eagle Square, Abuja, Gala Night, International Conference Center, ICC Abuja, signed A.H. James O. Corkery, FSR, Chairman, Central Planning Committee, announcer.
For over 25 years, I have been privileged to anchor various programs on television. But the news program that I find most exciting and challenging is The Weekend File. This is largely because of its philosophy of engaging all classes of people, the artisans, politicians, technocrats, captains of industry, and professional analysts on issues that touch all aspects of life and living. In the conversations that follow, you find complexities, different views, ideologies, thought patterns, and individual beliefs. It's quite engaging. We do this Saturdays on NTA network service at 9 p.m. It's Weekend File, but you call it Weekend Companion, and it's all about nation building. Join me, Kirian Umayo, and production crew every Saturday for this weekend treat, and I can tell you that it is unmissable. Make it a day.
Thanks for staying with us. A special program on the national and state assemblies elections in Rivers State, titled Rivers Rerun Elections, comes up tomorrow, Saturday, 19th March, from 9 o'clock in the morning to 12 noon on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. The program will appraise the election, INEC, and security situation with representatives of the INEC, police, and political analysts as guests. Keep a date with us. And that leads us to a preview of rerun elections and more as we link up with Ogwa in our Port Harcourt Network Center. Hello, Ogwa.
Isaac, welcome to Port Harcourt. The Independent National Electoral Commission in Rivers State has taken delivery of sensitive and non-sensitive materials for Saturday's rerun elections in the state. Emmanuel Lene, who monitored the arrival and distribution of the materials, reports.
The sensitive materials, which include result sheets and other forms for the conduct of the elections, arrived at the INEC office from the Central Bank of Nigeria between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the morning Thursday. The materials were thereafter sorted and distributed to the local government racks in the presence of party agents, from where they will be distributed to the polling units on Saturday. Resident Electoral Commissioner in charge of Rivers State, Ed Aniedi Okwewak, noted that with distribution of the materials, all is now set for the conduct of our free and fair run come Saturday.
On Saturday, all activities will be at the polling units, collation centers, and so on, declaration points.
Meanwhile, offices and banks closed shop to observe the two-day public holiday declared by the Rivers State government, intended to give residents opportunity to travel home for the run elections. As at the time of filing this report, police headquarters had high activity with the dispatch of police officers to the various posts in progress. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
And in the meantime, movements and activities in Port Harcourt are slowing down. Consequences on the security situation in Rivers State, culminating in a number of killings, even as preparations for the State and National Assembly rerun elections heighten. Kingsley Amajiri captures the concerns and efforts to mitigate the anomalies in this report.
Rivers State has been in the news since the conduct of the 2015 elections. Out from the court judgments on the outcome of the elections further deepened the disaffection among the political rivals. A major setback from the election was the proliferation of arms in the hands of misguided youths across many communities in the state. From Eche to Ogoni, Andoni to Pobo, and from Oba Ibomandoni to Ahoda, Abua Odua to Ikwere, Emoha, among others, there are reported cases of stockpiling of arms and killings, pitching the major political contenders against one another. Aside that, the violent altercations from key political actors in the state have created a tense atmosphere.
It's something to worry about. Even the security agents, everybody in Rivers State is worried.
In a bid to arrest the situation, the DIG says he is not taking anything for granted.
Everybody says there will be good, there will be no violence, there will be this, there will be that. I'm not going to rest on my oars on what I've heard here. Yeah, I've heard that since the general elections and all other rerun elections throughout the country. But let us hope that they are sincere. If they're not sincere, we'll take the necessary action that we need to take.
Analysts are of the view that elections come and go. The people must realize that the desire to lead should not be pursued at the cost of people's lives, especially endangering public perception of the character of inhabitants of the state. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
And the rerun elections are scheduled to take place in almost all the Legislative and National Assembly seats following the cancellation of their results in the 2015 general elections in Rivers State. In this report, Emmanuel Lene brings us an outlook of tomorrow's court-ordered rerun elections in the state.
Rivers State has 32 state constituencies, 13 federal constituencies, and 3 senatorial seats. After our general election, which many described as controversial. NTA News.
And that's our beat from Port Harcourt. Back to you, Isaac, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Ogwa. Good afternoon. Staff of Nigeria's 199 embassies and missions around the world have been charged to be good ambassadors. Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyama gave the charge during a meeting with embassy staff in Brussels. Bilkisu Abdurazak Odoye reports.
The deliberation, which lasted about 2 hours, had both the Nigerian and European delegation brainstorming on the way forward.
A fundamental meeting, a very productive one. We have decided to strengthen cooperation on a series of very important issues, from economy to security to migration. So I'm very satisfied with that.
I think something that started when our president visited earlier in the year, when he came and he met with the two presidents, and this relationship is just a follow-up, and the willingness and the support that is emerging from both sides for a collaborative relationship.
On the issue of diversifying the economy and terrorism being experienced in the northeastern part of the country, both parties expressed delight at the level of seriousness with which the federal government is tackling the challenges.
We've seen a clear shift and a clear determination from the government side, from the president's side personally, in the fight against Boko Haram that we appreciate and we support. So we have worked on strengthening our cooperation in all the sectors of work that obviously the authorities of Nigeria, but also in cooperation with us, can do to prevent and to fight Boko Haram and terrorism and radicalization in all different forms and with all different instruments.
We were able to look at very concrete approaches to dealing with the security issues challenges that we are facing. And not just in terms of the military confrontation with Boko Haram, but looking also at the building blocks to have sustainable peace in our country.
Climate change and its adverse effects in Africa, cybercrime, mobility and human trafficking also featured in the discussions.
They are concerned about the returns and reintegration of those who migrated to Europe illegally. But of course, we're also concerned about how we can resettle these people if we confirm they are actually Nigerians.
Displacing thousands of people. It is in sympathy with the affected persons that a delegation of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has made a symbolic distribution of assorted foods and non-food items worth millions of naira to the victims.
I want to assure you that the federal government is identified with this situation with you, and is constantly on the move to plan for, better to better the conditions of the victims of.
Executive Secretary, Benue State Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Boniface Otese, and the Special Assistant to the Governor on Security Matters, Joshua Imanche, who received the items on behalf of the displaced persons, lauded the aptness of the gesture. Chairman of the committee in charge of Agato IDPs, Very Reverend Father John Atta, prayed God's blessings on the donor. The items donated are to be distributed to IDPs in the affected communities in the state. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News. 1,261 staff in the Benue State Civil Service have been classified as ghost workers, having failed to present themselves for the staff audit verification exercise between September 2015 and January this year. This is a revelation of the report on the biometric audit of Benue Civil Service presented to Governor Samuel Ortom at the Government House in Makudi. Achigli Magaji reports.
From the exercise, a total of 18,143 employees were captured on the database. However, during the process of data integration, automatic fingerprint identification system, processing and integrity checks, only 17,962 active employees were on the new database. The report also shows that 359 employees ought to have retired between January and February 2016. 171 staff who should have retired earlier were still found on the September 2015 payroll. The report further observed that the inability of government to pay terminal benefits of staff in good time is responsible for the unwillingness of civil servants to leave the service as at when due. While receiving the report, Governor Samuel Otom commended the consultant for a good job and said a committee will be set up to screen the report in order to implement it. Leader of the team of consultants, Prince Nkpang, noted that for the first time, the exercise has created electronic file for each civil servant which contains career profile and qualifications. Over 170 million naira as gross salaries of the 1,261 staff is expected to be saved. In Makudi, Achiglimagaji, NTA News.
That report runs off a contribution from Makudi. Isaac is back to you.
Many thanks, Charles. The second round table conference on stabilization in the northeast region of Nigeria between the Nigerian police and British Embassy has held, focusing on required skills, deployment criteria, among others. It was declared open by the Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase. Bonaventure Wodo has the details.
The Inspector General of Police noted that the efforts of the federal government in combating the menace of terrorism is fast yielding results. He said, unlike the previous meeting which dwelt on multi-agency
unity and peaceful coexistence in the country, Aliu Tukur tells us more.
The sermon delivered by Sheikh Abdullah Abdul Muhsin Al-Turki, Executive Secretary World Muslim League, who is in the country for the International Islamic Conference. In his sermon, the guest Imam tasked Muslims to hold on to the true teachings of Islam in order to attain peace and stability in the nation. According to Sheikh Abdul Muhsin, there will be no meaningful development in any country where there is no peace and stability. He therefore urged both the leaders and followers to work towards achieving peaceful coexistence among citizens irrespective of religious beliefs.
All the khutbah is all about calling the entire Muslim Ummah to believe in the Holy Quran and the Sunnah of Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Sheikh has appealed to all Muslim Ummah. They shall hold fast the Holy Book, Al-Quran, and the Sunnah of Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Sheikh was very happy the way he was received by the entire Muslim Ummah in Nigeria. And he wishes Nigeria well as a good coordination between Nigeria and Saudi Arabia.
The congregation, who among them is the Senate President Abubakar Bukola Saraki and Emir of Kano Muhammad Sanusi II, prayed for peace, stability and development of the nation. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
And on the foreign scene, a technical cooperation program between the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, has been launched. The official launch was one of the sideline events at the 60th session of the Commission on the Status of Women at the United Nations. Adeyemi Omojola Fatoba has details.
Key issues in the technical cooperation focus on gender-responsive national and regional agricultural investment plans, meeting the Zero Hunger Challenge in ECOWAS member states. This is with a view to adequately respond to existing gender disparities in the agricultural, rural development, food security and nutrition sectors. In addition, it deals with enhanced capacity to empower women and youth farmers along agricultural value chains through gender-responsive policies, financing and service delivery.
Any significant regional development framework should serve as a rallying point for strengthening our resolve to develop our continent and unite its people. The technical cooperation program between ECOWAS and FAO should serve as a benchmark for sustainable livelihood. And the whole of Africa has realized it.
Of Vitalo FC in their CAF Champions League first round first leg tie in Port Harcourt last week, Enyimba will aim to claim a double against the Burundian side when they both meet in the return leg Saturday in Bujumbura. Warri Wolves, which lost 0-1 at home to Al Merrikh in their first meeting, have a mountain to climb in the reverse fixture Saturday in Sudan. Meanwhile, in the CAF Confederation Cup, Natarog United will face another tightrope walk as they play Club Sportive Constantine in Algeria on Saturday with a slim 1-0 lead from the first leg in Abuja. The draws for the UEFA Champions League quarter-finals were conducted Friday in Lyon, Switzerland, with FC Barcelona paired against La Liga rivals Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid faced Wolfsburg, Bayern Munich met Benfica, while Paris Saint-Germain contended with Manchester City. The first legs will be played on April 5 and 6, with the second legs slated for April 12 and 13. Meanwhile, SC Braga will face Shakhtar Donetsk in the UEFA Europa League quarter-finals following Friday's draws. Borussia Dortmund are pitted against Liverpool, Villarreal battles Sparta Prague, while holders Sevilla confront Athletic Bilbao. The double-headers will be decided April 7 and 14. With Sports Update, Kenan Ima Abodike, NTA News.
Sports Update wraps it up on Nationwide this Friday. Thank you for your time. Do join us for more reports in our subsequent news bulletin. I am Isaac Nkuma. Enjoy your weekend. Good evening.